Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to learn file transfer protocols. So, basically, what is file transfer protocol? This is a application protocols basically used for transferring file from one host machine to the another host machine over the internet. Basically, this is also known as TCP/IP protocol. It is used above the it works above the TCP/IP protocols. That means data is sent from FTP clients, and after that data will be transferred with the help of TCP connections, TCP/IP connections, and at the receiver end there is the FTP servers which receive the data successfully. So basically, FTP is commonly used for communications for transferring the file over the internet. Here, as we have discussed already in telnet, that basically they establish the two network connections. One is the data transfer and other is the control connections. What is this? Data transfer means sharing of your file, folder, data on the server, and second is the control information. That means command and response play the major role. Also, we have also discussed that in telnet basically work on port number 23. But Telnet is not a secure connections. Therefore, SSH work on port number 22. Now here you see that there is a two well-known TCP port, which is port number 21 and port number 20. In port number 21, it is basically used for data connections, sorry, control connections, and for port number 20, it is basically used for data connections. So this is the work that we are going to learn in FTP topic. We are going to learn all these things in FTP topic. Let us see what is how the FTP communicate over the control connections. What they use. Basically, in FTP, we use 7-bit SKY character set. Communication is received through command and response. When the client send one command, then server definitely gives some response to the client. Therefore, we can say that one command or one response will be generated at the same time. Each line is terminated with two characters. One is the carry region and second is the line fade character. Through this, the line is terminated. Communication over the data connections. How the communication is done over the data connections. Let us see. Basically, file transfer occur over the data connection under the control commands sent over the control connections. File is to be copied from the server to the client. Basically, the command is used for retrieving a file. So, RETR command is basically used to retrieve the files. Second is how the transfer is done. Second is basically used for storing the file or folder or data from client to the server. This is done by using STOR command. If you want to see the list of directory or file name which is sent by the server to the client, in that case we can use the command to view those list of directories. This is done by list, I mean list command. Through list command, the user can view the list of directory or the file name. In DOS operating systems, when you are using command prompt, if you type dir means directory, then you can see the different file folders in a particular drive. You can see the size, file size also, and you can access it also. Therefore, the list command display all the information about the file and folders. And this is only done over the data connections. Let us see next things. This is the you can see this is the pictures which is shown over here. User interface, control process, data transfer process. Here user have a particular user interface. Maybe they have the operating systems, but I have already told that we are basically using these things on command based operating systems, which is Linux and Unix. Now the client and server is there. We have to establish a connections. Client FTP send a request to the FTP server. Then FTP server send the acknowledge to the client's FTP client. FTP client understand that now the TCP FTP servers is now going to accept our uh, command. Then the data connection is established between FTP client and FTP server, and this is done under TCP/IP control connections. There are the different transmission mode. One is the stream mode, second block mode, third is the compress mode. As name reflect, you must be aware about this. Therefore, for the stream mode, this is a continuous stream of bytes. That means you can transfer the file from client to server. No end of file is needed. That means continuous transmission is possible in stream mode. In block mode, each block is preceded by 3 byte headers. That means the first byte is the block descriptor and next 2 byte is basically used for the size of block in byte. Next is the compress mode. In this, user run length encoding. Compress mode, as the name repeats, if the file is very big, you can compress it at a substantial level. Let us see the next point of FTP. What FTP provides? Basically, FTP provide interactive access with a remote server. It allows the human to easily access your file from the remote server. For accessing the file, there is a proper format specifications where the FTP allow the client to specify the type and format of a stored data. Then and thereafter, we need authorizations. That means authentication play the major role during the transference of the file. Transference of the file. So FTP client require client to authorize themselves by sending login name and password to the server before requesting file transfers. File transfer protocols. Let us see something different about the file transfer protocol. Basically, this is the worst, the simplest and most secure things to exchange file over the internet. For transferring files, client upload the file from the end to the server, and whenever required, if they want to access it, user want to access it, then they will download those files from the server. To access the file and folder, to access the FTP server, user must be able to connect to the internet or intranet. It may be through modem connections or through local area connections. FTP really does not move. It copies the file from one computer to another. That means from client to server. FTP is file transfer protocol in the internet TCP/IP protocol suite application layer. Basically, for establishing connection between client and server, we need a software so that the connection is established properly. Let us see. Let us see what kind of software that we need from the client ends. Some of the commonly used FTP clients are FileZilla, FireFTP, Dreamweaver. FileZilla is the most popular one. This is freely available for Windows, Macintosh, Linux. FireFTP, basically these are plugin in the Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, and Dreamweaver basically page layout design programs where you can add features. Basically, for this you have to purchase this software from the Adobe. So there are many FTP client programs which is run through command line. The command is FTP, which is installed in the operating systems. And if you want to go for the graphical interface, in that case you have to install Qt FTP. Qt FTP. This is also installed in the operating system of graphical user interface, which is much more friendly to access or transfer file from one system to another. About the history, the completion of FTP date from 1971 when the file transfer systems between MIT machines was developed. Many RFC stand for remote function call, has been made, uh, has since made improved change to the basic protocols, but the great innovation date from July 1973. FTP protocol is defined by RFC 959. So this is done. This is all about the history of the FTP, which is developed in 1971. This purpose is that basically to transfer file from source to destinations, say from one host machine to the another host machine, and basically this is used for the remote accessing. What are the features? Basically, these are completely based on client server architectures, client server environments, where the client can access their file from the remote machines. In the Unix, basically this service is provided by a system which is known as daemon. This is basically a small task that runs in background. FTP daemon is called FTP-D. D stand for daemon. So these are the different architecture that is these are the architecture which is shown over here. Here is the FTP client, FTP server. Same file you can see that maybe directly it is given my source image index. These are things which we access it, allow the file to have access, and there is some restriction also to this file. You can create, delete directory, list file, delete or rename your file. So what is the same thing HTTP is doing? But I want to tell you that FTP transfer the file from the both end. That is, client will send the file, or even server will also send the file. So the connection is vice versa. The difference between FTP and HTTP is that FTP is two-way systems. FTP can be used to copy or move file from server to the client computer as well as uploading or transferring file from the client to the server. HTTP on the other hand is strictly one way. Strictly one way, directly transmit text, picture and other multimedia file from the server to the client computer, which uses a web browser to view the data. Basically, FTP systems generally encode and transmit their data in binary systems, which allow for that faster data transfers. HTTP system encoded their data in MIME format, which is larger or more complex. MIME is basically email protocols. So files are automatically copied or moved from file server to the client computer hard drives and vice versa. On the other hand, in an FTP are transfer are viewed and can disappear when the browser is turned off unless the user executes the command to move the data to the computer memory. So in the next class we'll discuss about the FTP model. Till now we have discussed about the FTP and their different type of FTP advantage, disadvantage, how you can establish connections. We have just learned right now. In the next class, we'll see about their models. Till then, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you.